behind.
Welcome everybody to Panfish Nation, along with Mark. I'm Lyle, and Mark. We're looking for topics all the time for show topics and what people want to see and different information. These shows that we do, you and I do, and Catfish Weekly, and even when you had your show going every week, it's about educating people on different facets of what we do. And a lot of people think it's just to sit up there and shoot the bull and have a good time. And that's fun. Everybody likes to do that. But if we can help somebody figure out something or teach them something they don't know, I think that's a different dimension than what a lot of people do. Now, like I've said before, there's some guys that's doing shows that probably shouldn't be doing them. And some of them are not only not entertaining, they don't have the knowledge to do it. And if I'm that way, that's fine, but I think I can share something with them, and I know you can. And we're going to talk about a subject tonight that I don't remember anybody touching on. If they did, it was a long time ago.
I don't claim to know anything. I pretty much don't, but I know what I like, Lyle. That's pretty much how I go about sharing any information. So I have no problem telling people what I like and why I like it. So I figure that's what I'd bring to the table tonight. So don't be telling people that I know what I'm doing, because that'll get me in all sorts of trouble.
I guess that's to say I forgot to change my background, didn't I?
Oh, you did, didn't you?
Yeah, I got to figure out.
Holy smokes, that's priceless. So tonight we're going to talk. I'll keep everybody company while you're figuring that out, Lyle. Tonight we're going to talk about reels. Me and Lyle we're kicking around some ideas for the show tonight, and he came up with this brilliant idea to talk about reels. You know, me and obviously Lyle, because of his passion for older reels, including the Abus that he keeps around him. We like gear, and there's nothing more Lyle likes to do than to spend other people's money. So I see that, Josh. Fields to water. There you go. I wonder where he got that. So we figured he came up with this idea, and like the last minute, I figured maybe we can go about this in a certain way. And I figured I challenged Lyle to come up with his top 3, 4, 5 reels for panfish, and I would do the same, and we'd compare them. So we're going to go about it that way tonight. We'd also absolutely love to hear what you guys like. There you go, Lyle. That looks a little better.
You'll have a half nude Chad in here.
That was priceless. So we figured we'd start from here. Also, you know, being Christmas time and stuff, there's all sorts of sales going on. I know half the reels on my list, actually all of the reels on my list except for one, are probably on sale. I don't know for sure. We're not going to send you guys the links to buy anything. We're just going to tell you what we really like.
No, Josh, absolutely not. Well, before it's going to be one of the nights, ain't it? Before we get started, Mark, what do you say we welcome people into chat?
I'd love to do that. Let me take a look at the list here. I see 205 Wild Action in the house. There's Miss Annette's Catfishing. How you doing, Miss Annette? Buck Williams in the house. What's up, Buck? Buckman 22. Buckman's been going live more and more lately. It's good to see him. Bugman, I've watched you a couple times, just either on the phone or in the middle of working, so it was kind of hard to chime in, but I was there, gave you a thumbs up. There's Miss Cindy Stokes. How you doing, Cindy? There's Crappie Day Fish On. He is a channel member. Just a reminder for those of you who aren't members, if you'd like to get in on the monthly drawing for some of Lyle's jigs, you need to be a member. The membership link's on the main page. I'm not sure if we have it in the description, but if
yes,
not,
it is.
Okay, it's there. We'll make sure to have that every week going forward. There's my buddy Creole Catfishing. You know, Creole lives where there's no snow at Christmas time, Lyle.
Or any other time, I don't think.
I don't think so. We can talk about that later. I don't know if I could do that. It can snow up until Christmas, and then it needs to stop. That's just me. Dale Hayslip in the house. What's up, Dale? JNS Outdoors. How you doing, sir? There's channel member Joe Buck 66. Lyle, I think Joe said that he's in the ER. We're going to wish him well here in a second. Let's get through the list. P&B Catfishing, what's going on, Paul? How you doing? Parker Pursuits, what's up, Jerry? What's up, my friend? Size Matters Catfishing. I think I saw Andrew get onto some fish here on Facebook, scrolling through real quick. I haven't been able to spend that much time, but congratulations, bud. There's Josh over at the Weekend Angler. Josh is having a New Year's Eve show, an open mic night. That'll be kind of cool. If I'm around, I'll definitely stop in there. There's my buddy, the great Tim Molina. How you doing, Tim? Tim's another one. I don't think it snows by him either at Christmas time.
I don't think so.
And there's Uptown Chrissy Brown, who I also believe is in the ER. I apologize, Chrissy. Hopefully things will you'll feel better. I just saw Lance McCougai pop in here. Lance will be fishing for burbot here. If I think he started already, but I know he's going to be doing it, and I plan on getting up till Milwaukee to do that myself. So that was I haven't been doing my show, Lyle, so I got a lot to spew out onto the audience. It's like all backed up. Wait a minute, this isn't right. We got to move screens here. I'm over to the right. I'm not going to be on the left of the screen. I'm right, if you know what I mean.
Right winger, left. Well, I don't want to be a left winger either. There's a lot of pieces that it takes to put together a great fishing trip. Or let's say to make a trip successful. And we've done some shows about rods and jigs and live bait and but we never talk about reels that I can remember. That's a big part of what it takes to catch fish. Now, that's not saying you can't go out with a cane pole and catch bluegill and crappie, because you can. You absolutely can. You can go out and tie a string on a limb and bob it up and down. You're probably going to catch them. But to do it the way we do it, and that means everybody listen. I don't think anybody really, to mount anything, hardly anybody fishes with cane poles and limbs anymore. Maybe a limb line, but not just holding a stick out there with a line on it. Most people have got some type of reel, some type of rod. They've got a high-quality hook, a sinker, and whatever type of bait that they want to do. And so since we haven't talked about reels, tonight's the night, man.
I agree with all those, even though a cane pole is a heck of a lot of fun.
That's hand-to-hand combat, buddy.
That's a good way of putting it, especially if you get that unexpected little 1-2 pound channel cat that's laying there right by the bank. You hook that on there, and you're in for a ride. So,
well, a 10-inch bluegill.
Yeah, that too.
That'll do it every time. But we've all got different stuff and things that we like. And what do you say we go in here and talk about what we have and what we like about them or dislike about them, and kind of share some information with people?
I'm all for it. And I'm gonna, you know what, Lyle, you can go first because age comes before beauty. So we're gonna.
How do you figure that?
All right, I'll go first.
I'm just kidding. I have 5 reels that I actually brought in because they was available to me out in the club. And they go from 500 size to 2,000 size. Now, I have some 2,500s, and I have different ones that I brought in. These are just easy to grab hold of. And this is one of the oldest ones I got. They call this a 2000 series. It is a Mitchell Advocate. I believe that it probably is more like a 2500 series by the new standards. I've had 3 or 4 of these for a long time. They're pretty much flawless. I've got one that's on a channel cat rod that I use, and it's got like 10 or 12 pound test line on it. And I've run bobbers, big cat bobbers on it and everything else. I use it mainly off the side of the boat dead sticking, but I've had these and never had to do anything more than shoot a little oil on them once in a while. But they're heavy. I have a Sienna here that we'll go to in a little bit, but this thing here probably is double the weight of a new reel. They're that old. Now I've got one that's brand new, but I've lost this piece for it. So when one of the others go bad, I'll just take this off and put it on that reel, and I'll still have a brand new reel. But these things here work really well, and they work better for me with 6 or 8 pound test line on them. Now, like I say, I've got some different ones that are smaller, and we'll talk about them when we come to them. But this is a great reel. They're very smooth. You're right, Josh. They have a wonderful drag system in them, and with a 1/2 ounce weight, if you're fishing out of a boat, even a 3/8 of an ounce, they throw a long, long way. Now, they don't cast small lures like 1/32, 1/64 ounce. They don't cast them quite as well, but they're just a little heavy. But they're older, and I really like them. That is this my number one that I want to use? No, it's not. But they're very dependable, and I would, if you can find them anymore, I would highly recommend it. If you're wanting to do something where it's like a universal semi big or semi small and everything in between, from little bluegill to small bass, this is what I would want, because it'll do it all. Does it do it all well? It does it all. But there's better options for smaller fish and for bigger fish, but it can get the job done for you if you don't mind the weight of it. And like I say, I got 3 or 4 of them, and I've had them a long time, and they just are foolproof. So there's a great reel that ranks probably number 3 on my list of 5.
And that's a pretty good choice. I've had a chance of using those. All those Mitchell reels are good reels. I
Mhm.
haven't had a Mitchell didn't make my list just because I forgot about them, but I've used Mitchell's forever. Namely the 300s. They were always the ones that I would like
Oh
to
yeah,
use.
they're great. I've got one out there.
Those little green machines, they always treated me well, so I think that's a good choice. And if you're looking for parts for that, I found parts for my older reels on eBay a lot of times. I imagine on Marketplace too you could find parts for stuff
Oh,
like
I'm
that.
sure so. Yeah.
So if anybody out there in chat's looking for that reel, I'm sure you could probably find it on eBay or when you're checking garage sales, which I do quite a bit. If I drive by, I'm always rubbernecking, looking over to see what kind of fishing gear they got. Lyle. That's not a joke.
I never thought about I could probably just order a new spool for that one.
There you go. All right. All right. I'll take a turn here. Let me share a screen here. I don't have my reels with me. Let me share the screen here. I think this is it. There we go. This is my number 5 pick. Now, that might be a little misleading because this, in fact, is my favorite reel out of all of them on their list. But the reason why I put it at number 5 is because it's not cheap at all. That's a $200 plus reel. Now, let me tell you real quick why I love this reel, because it's the workhorse of any of the casting or any of the spinning reels I've ever owned. I've had it submerged in ice water for an hour before I could retrieve it. Took it apart. It was still oiled in there. There wasn't a drop of water on the inside of the reel.
That's very
It worked no problem. The only problem I've ever had with any of those Shimano Stratics were me stepping on the bail. And I was able to get a new bail, like I said, off of eBay. That's why I mentioned that. So I was able to get that fixed myself, got it all back together. And to this day, I got 3 Stratics that I use. One's 3,000 and I got 2 1,000s. I would probably, if I could do it again, I'd split the difference and go with a 2,000 series. I believe that's how they size them up, because they're all different. Some companies are 20s, some are 2,000s. You had mentioned a 2,500. But those are the size I would go. Panfish, you don't really need that big a reel, but I like having a 1,000 bigger than 1,000 series reel, because where I fish, channel cats are notorious for eating jigs or even, you know, worms on the hook if you're using them, and they'll mess up 4-pound test like nothing.
Yeah.
So if I got more line capacity, I can cut it off and retie, and I don't have to worry about, you know, with kinked line or any of that. And this thing, like you were saying, probably is the smoothest casting reel I've ever owned. And the bigger the spool, the better it's going to cast. Not necessarily light line, but bigger baits, it'll definitely cast smoother. So
there you go.
that is my number. That's my number 5, Lyle.
There
Like
you
I
go.
said, it's my favorite reel, but not number 1 because of the prices outside of reason as far as a panfish reel goes, as far as I'm concerned.
Before I go to my number 4, I would like to welcome Dan from Uber Time Guide Service in. D has made it in. And Brian B made it in. And I'm sure there's more. Greg Burgess, I think,
Burgess
just got in.
Yep, I also saw, I think John Boy's catfishing popped his head back in here. What's up, John Boys? How you doing?
205 Wild Action.
There's 205. How you doing, D?
We're so glad to see you all in here tonight. And I will step up to the next one, which will make my number 4. Again, this is a 2000 series. And let's talk about that, just that for a second, Mark.
Sure.
That's kind of like fishing rods. Reels are like rods. There's no standard to gauge them by. What one guy says is a medium heavy, to me, is probably a heavy. Because I grade mine different from different manufacturers. One manufacturer will make what I call a medium heavy, and it'll be a medium heavy. The next one, it'll be a heavy. The next one will be a light action. But people don't understand that that's not the only way to gauge a rod. You gauge them by power ratings and tip action, which the tip action goes back 1/3 from the top. It's kind of confusing on rods. With reels, I think all the companies should go by a size, and most companies make a 500 series, a 1000, a 1500, a 2000, 2500, and 3, 4, 5, and so on. Up to like 8500 is the biggest one
yeah, those are surf rods. Use those big
ones. I don't have no desire for them. But this one actually probably is a true 2000 series reel. It's a little bit heavier than my Sienna, but it's not nearly as heavy as that Advocate. And what it is a Procaster made by Daiwa. I've had it a long time. The reason, again, that it's number 4 on my list is because it's so tough and durable, it makes the list. It's smooth as silk. It's old, but it works perfectly. And there's just, you can't buy new ones that are any better than this. So why would you replace one if it's not broken? You know what I mean? And it casts really well. It's not so good with the 164th and 180th stuff. It handles the 132s pretty good. But anything larger than that, you can just whip it out there and get. But you need a light action or an ultralight rod, and this reel works really good with a light action. Which, and in my rod building experience, that would be from 132nd up. For light action. Ultralight would be from 1/16th down to 100 or 120th of an ounce. But these are really tough. I don't think they make these anymore. I haven't been able to find one in a long time, but it's a Procaster by Daiwa. Just a really good reel, all-around good thing. I used to buy them in a combination. I'd buy them, throw the blanks away or the rods away, and keep the reels. Because I couldn't find just the reels, and I like them that well. They're really good. Nobody says I got one just like it, and I absolutely love it. That's awesome. They're really tough. They're really good. If you throw a little oil on them once in a while, take them apart, clean them, put grease where it needs to be, and put them back together, you can't beat them. They just work that well. So that's my number 4, Mark.
And let's touch bases real quick about castability. Remember, folks, that the line you're using. I mean, if you go and you get a line that's already, or a combo from Walmart that's spooled already, chances are that's got 8-pound test. Wouldn't you say, Lyle?
Yes.
On those cheaper ones that are done, which will work, but it makes it awfully hard to cast. Don't be afraid to try a 2-pound or 4-pound test line if you're casting really light baits and you need to get them out there. Even go down to a 2 if you have to. Match the rod up to that. If you're going to use lines that light, something with a super fast, aka soft tip, will help you get those fish in. Make it a heck of a lot of fun, but that'll aid in the castability. And don't be afraid to use things like those clear water bobbers that I've talked about in the past too. Those will help you get baits out there. A little longer leader, you can get it out there, you'll be good to go. So
absolutely.
So let me go to my number. This will be another one I really like. Now, I had a gentleman on my show, Dave Gantz. He's the oldest guy on Major League Fishing Tour. He's also a Daiwa sponsored angler. I told him, we talked about my passion for those Stratics, which was my prior reel, and he recommended that I get one of these Daiwa Fuegos. Now, I have to admit, it's a heck of a reel at about half the price. You can pick one up for about $85, which is still a little bit on the high end, but it beats that $200 price range for sure.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
And it's pretty darn close. You can find them pretty much anywhere. They cast great. They come in sizes all the way up to, I think, like 6,000, which you would need for panfish, but a good 1,000 or a 2,000 series reel would work. If you go for a 500, which is typically used for ice fishing for the most part. Do you ever notice that on 500s, Lyle? They got really big handles on them. That's so you can reel them in with gloves.
Really?
That's one thing that'll tip you off to a reel that's made specifically for ice fishing. I just thought I'd throw that fact out there.
Since I don't ice fish, I would have never known that.
Well, we can change that, Lyle.
No, we can't.
Yeah, this is true. I kind of gave it up for Christmas, I guess. But those Daiwa Fuegos, not only are they decent reels, they're pretty sharp looking too. So I have an affinity for black reels. So I like them too.
Very nice. Very nice.
Oh, sorry about that.
Josh says, remember when buying a budget combo, their manufacturer is making money somewhere. If it has a good reel, the rod is likely cheap. Good rod, cheap reel. They almost always put cheap line on it. That's a fact. That's a fact. I'm not saying that every reel that you buy or every combo that you buy, you should strip the line off of it, but I usually do.
You should strip the line off, and I'll say it if Lyle won't.
I have plenty of line here. I will say this. Zebco usually has pretty good quality line on there, and I don't like their line. But the line that comes on a Zebco reel, because Cindy likes her 733s and 33s and stuff like that. You don't really have any trouble with the line on those, and if you replace it every year or so, you'll be fine. But there's a lot better quality line on the market than what comes on most reels, and like bait casters and spinning reels, they don't use. If you just buy the reel, they don't come with line on. They just don't. Now you buy you a 202 or something, and they got 6 pounds Zebco line on.
There you go.
There. That's just how it works.
I think I still got some Zebcos in the garage with the original red line that comes on them, at least as of late. So. Yeah, those are my loaners for the kids. I'd be lying if I said I didn't take them out every now and then when I was out fishing. So, and I came across a combo at Farm and Fleet from Eagle Claw, which had a Shakespeare reel that was junk. That reel, and specifically that reel, it was a $27 combo, but I wanted the rod, and I still have 2 of those rods, but those reels are long gone.
Yeah.
So,
yeah,
I use those.
That just falls right in with Josh's comment.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. That's what
it really does. Up. Is it me?
Yeah, I had the Fuego last, so it is your turn, bud.
My number 3, I got 2 used, like new, Fluger Monarch, and I believe them to be 500 series from Matt at Want to Be Outdoors. We've done some swapping around on a fishing rod, some different things. One of them I didn't bring in because it's kind of dirty. But this one is not. And these are really cuties. They really are. This is, like I say, it looks brand new. I don't know if Matt used it. He couldn't have used it much. I maybe should have rated this a little higher than I did, but there's certain things this is friggin' awesome on, like jig fishing for bluegills in calm water. You can't beat it. Slip corking, which is something that I dearly love to do next to a weed bed or something. And this reel works so well with 4-pound test on it that it's nearly unbelievable. Smooth, quiet, easy to cast. You put it on an ultralight rod, and it doesn't matter if it's 4.5 or 7 foot long. It will work perfectly every time. The only issue I've ever had with these is if I put too much line on them, you have a problem. But that's not with any. That's with every reel if you overspool them. I just dearly love them. I don't know if they still make them or not. I am a big proponent of Fluger reels. I've had really good luck with them over the years, and I've had bait casters that was Flugers, and I've had spinning reels that was Flugers, and I've not ever had an issue with one unless I just wore it out. Eric Massey says I have 4 just like that and love them. These are great reels. If you get a chance to buy them and you're concerned about them, don't be. I promise you, it'll serve you well for a long time. I don't know if I've had these for a year or two. I got from Matt, and I'm shocked that he would turn loose of something such high quality as this. It probably should have been rated higher than number 3, but I just love it so much, and lightweight. You can't go wrong with one of them. I would buy several of these brand new if I could come up with them at the right price. They're that well, and I think that anybody who used one would be very happy with them. Now they're not for big fish. If you get a 4-pound line, they work really well on, and that's what goes on mine. And if you get a bass on it on an ultralight, you're in for a battle royale, and that's what you want anyhow. So good reel, Flugers.
Yeah, Bugman says I had a yellow Eagle Claw rod with a Zepco mini reel. Most fun rod for big gillies. Yep, that's the rod. I think we're talking about the same one.
Probably so.
Welcome, Bank Fishing Adventures. How you doing? Welcome. What's going on, Eric? I think Lyle already said hello to you. All right, Lyle. So speaking of Fluger, my number 3 pick happens to be a Fluger as well.
Nice.
Now, I have a lot of experience with these Fluger Presidentials. They're good. They're good rods. I mean, good reels. They work very well. I put a lot of abuse and a lot of hurt on them. That being said, I have broke a few just by dropping them. The casting in the right here where the spool meets the. Let me see if I can get in there a little more. Like right in this area, I've dropped them. I've broke more than one of them with it. Other than that, I don't have any complaints. It's for panfish. They're great. They might be a little on the delicate side in that aspect, but you won't go wrong. You'll be happy with that reel if you take good care of it. Also, it's like silly things. I like the cork handle on this one. You see that, Lyle? For some reason, that's pretty comfortable for me. I'm pretty happy. These reels are relatively cheap. At Christmas time, they sell the even better looking, the Presidential XTs at Bass Pro Shops and Cabela's. I got a bunch of them through them, right around $50 too, between 50 and $60 last time I bought them. So
good price.
They're good reels. They work. They come in many different sizes. They're relatively smooth. They're not as smooth as like some of the other ones on my list, but they'll definitely do in a pinch. That Daiwa Fuego is a great reel, but you're looking at a $30 difference. you're looking at, what is that, 30% higher, 35% higher in cost. If you're looking to save a few bucks, you can't go wrong, and get still a higher quality reel. You can't go wrong with those presidentials. So
there you go.
they come in and they also come in variable retrieve ratios. What kind of ratios are you looking for in a reel? Well, that's always where I lose, where I don't know what to pick.
I want something on a panfish rod that is 5 point something or more.
So something a little lower speed, huh?
Yeah. I want it to gather a reasonable amount of line on each crank. Now, let's face it, these are small. So they're only going to get so much. Where there's a lot of the big spinning reels, like that one that you sent me. I forgot what it is, but it's like 28 inches per crank.
I think it's something like that.
It might be more than that.
There was an Okuma, an older one. They don't make that anymore. But that was when you were right after you had your soldier surgery. I wanted to make sure you'd be able to cast one of those.
And I appreciate it so much. There's Dan Thompson. Welcome, buddy.
I always like to look at that one too. But yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that's a great reel. My number 4, again, is an older reel I've had for a long time.
I think we're on number 2, aren't we, Lyle?
Or 2, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Is a Pinnacle extinct. And I think they are extinct. This is a 500 series reel. It works really good with 2 and 4 pound test. I can't tell much difference in castability. It doesn't do as well with 6, although you can use 6 on it. 4 pound works really good. 2 pound works really well. The problem with 2 pound and me is I lose a lot of jigs with 2 pound test. But here it is. It's a 500 series. Like I say, I've had this thing for a long time. You can see where I beat off all the finish off of it in a couple of places. It's probably been hauled everywhere we go, other than if I forget to take a bait reel with me. This one goes. It has for years. It's really been a good one. It weighs almost nothing. And let me see. I got this out so I could go through this all with everybody. I have a magnifying glass, and this one's gear ratio is 5.1 to 1, and it'll hold 200 yards of 2 pound and 140 yards of 4. But it is a great reel. This one, I can't find one like it anymore. That I'm sure they don't make them anymore. It's probably 25-year-old reel. I'm sure it's 20. But it's like an old friend. You don't want to get rid of one. And that I still say it's my second from the top that I've ever had. It's just an outstanding reel. And if I could buy a box full of them brand new, I'd take the whole box.
So if I can find you a whole box of them, we're in business?
Yeah.
All right. And 25 years definitely speaks for itself. If you had that reel that long and you still like using it that much, that's definitely
Mark, I don't know for sure. Is that me beeping or you?
Oh, that's not me.
Okay. I don't know for sure. Hell, I got a GoPro camera going on and off. What the hell? I don't even know for sure if Pinnacle's still making reels. I haven't seen one in a long time. But that's my number 2. It's a great reel. But I like smaller reels too.
Hey, Sean T Outdoors has just joined us. What's going on, Sean T? How you doing?
No, I did not invent the first reel.
I saw that too. I'm just going to highlight that. Here's Jerry Parker. What's going on, Jerry? So now we're on to my number 2 pick. Now, this is a fairly new reel to me, but I was really happy with it. And I know I'd spoken to you a little bit about it, and I think have you talked into picking a couple of these up here soon. But it's the Piscifun Carbon X. I've been really happy with this reel. It's really smooth, comes a lot of sizes. It's another reel that's like You can find it if you look sub $50 range for that kind of money, and that kind of performance for those reels. I'm very pleased with it. Comes in all the different sizes. It looks good because I like flat black cloud. You know that.
That's right.
Looks good. It was fun. And when we were on Panfish Nation salmon fishing at one time, I was surprised to see our buddy Jerry H had the same reel on his salmon rod he had brought out there too. So he's another person that likes them. I think I seen him on sale for 2000 series for like $52 here just the other week, because I just ordered a couple of other rods that I need some spinning reels for. So and I think those are the ones I'm going to pick up for them, just because they're pretty economical. So
right. Bank Fishing Adventures, welcome.
What's going on, Greenwell? How you doing, Mike?
Hey, Mikey. So we're down to number 1.
Yep. If we had a drum roll sound effect, I'd play it right now.
I'm going to show you guys what I consider my favorite reel at this particular time. Now, with that being said, as soon as Mark gets to play with that reel that he just showed you a little bit, I am anxious to try one of those because I have in my hot little hand here a Shimano Sienna. And that's not an expensive reel. They're very inexpensive. They're about $39, $40, something like that. I bought a couple of them for the money. I don't think you can beat them. Now, this is a 2000 series, and I would like to have a 1000 series. They're my color, red and black, so that works out for me. Smooth as silk. I don't know how many bearings in it. Maybe it tells on here. Hang on. Damn.
Well, Lyle had mentioned they're being smooth as silk, and that goes a long ways as far as I'm concerned with the reel. If you're fishing, all day, you want to forget you're using it. And
that's right.
The smoother the reel, the more balanced your reel is. Light is great, but as long as it's balanced on the fishing rod, on the blank you're using, that's actually how you get that,
Yep.
no fatigue after fishing all day. And
that's a fact.
If you're, it's not like catfishing where you're throwing a rod, you're throwing 5 ounce a weight, 10 ounce of weight out there, and then sitting your butt in a chair and waiting for it to do. If you're casting all day or vertical jigging all day, it'll wear on you if you spend a lot of time doing
sure.
it. So.
This one is line capacity with 4-pound test is 150 yards. And I was looking for the gear ratio, but for some reason I don't see it on here. And we've used these the last 2 years with 0 issues. I haven't even so much as oiled one of them yet. Now, they don't get used like some of the other stuff we got, but they have held up really well. And the castability on these, now they don't cast the 1/64 to 132 ounce jigs as well as some of the others. But man, for the dollars that you spend on these, I've never seen one any smoother and cast any better. I really like them, highly recommend them, but for some reason, I can't find the gear ratio on it. And I thought all of them printed that on them, but they didn't on this one. But it's a great reel. Like I say, I've got 2 of them. If I assume that every size reel, whether it be a 500 or a 3500, would have the same quality as this 2000 series. I can't imagine it not. Shimano has a great name in the industry, and they make some high dollar stuff.
Oh yeah.
But if I can get this kind of use and enjoy using them as much as I have these Siennas, I would definitely buy them again. Cindy does not like using these. She wants the old push button kind that you can throw out. She can use these. She just don't like to, and she can use bait casters, but she would prefer not to. So when we was fishing tournaments, I never wanted to lose a good fish because of a cheap reel. So I made her use bait casters. And maybe I was wrong to do that, but she can use them if she wants to. She just prefers not to. But she don't like these at all. And I don't know if it's because they're left-handed or just what the deal is, but you can change the crank to either side on any of them anymore. But she don't want to use them, and I'm not going to argue with her about it. I'll keep using them because I dearly love them. I like these better than bait casters as a rule, but I got some pretty nice bait casters, and I'm not going to get rid of them. You know what I mean? But that Sienna, dollar for dollar, is probably the best bang for the buck that I'm aware of.
Robert Modlin says, Build Back Better has done great for Mark and Lyle. I don't know about all that.
I don't either. I'm still old and losing ground.
Amen. If you haven't collected a bunch of gear by the time you get to my age, you're doing something wrong.
That's right.
Now, Lyle, you had mentioned having the gear ratio printed right on the spool. You know, and you also mentioned about how the standards in sizes aren't the same across all the different brands. I've definitely noticed that in the past and learned the hard way that you're not always going to get what you're expecting, especially if you're ordering it and you don't get that reel in your grubby little hands. So what I've gotten the habit of doing is looking at line capacity. They always list online how much line at what weight. A lot of them will even list at even in braid, and that'll give you a good idea of what size that spool is and how much line you're going to need for it. And that'll give you an idea of how big that reel is. So once I started looking at that, that kind of alleviated that whole issue for me. So there's a little tip that I wanted to share with everybody. So let's see. Dan Thompson's got a comment here. Dan Thompson says, last week I pulled 2 Johnson Century 100-pound spin cast reels with original pulled out of my dumpster. I picked up. People pitch out antique fishing equipment all the time.
Wow.
Estates cleanouts are hot. Yeah. There's a lot of things like we were talking about garage sales and stuff. Keep an eye out. So
Yep. Sean T says, heck, Lyle and Mark have some of the first Abu serial numbers, 1 and 2.
I wish.
I do too.
I do too. Absolutely wish that was true. What's going on, Cheap Fish? How you doing? All right, let me real quick, let me share everybody mine. And I don't know if I'll surprise anybody with this one, but the Zepco 33, Lyle.
It's hard to beat. For the dollar, it's hard to beat them.
For the price, for the legacy of the reel. I couldn't even find one of the old ones, which I have the old pictures. That's one of the smaller ones, but still works good. They're not the most dependable. They're probably the easiest to find. Just walk down to your Walmart. There's going to be at least 20 of them up there on the rack.
And they last a long time.
They do last a long time if you learn how to respool them, which isn't the easiest thing in the world, but it's doable. Yeah. The drag isn't the smoothest drag, but I'll tell you what, they're fun to use. They're pretty effortless. And you can, what other reel that you have can you hand over to some kid and let them use like it's nothing? So I have still have 5 of these in my collection on combos that I got at Walmart. I give them to my nieces when I used to take them fishing. My nephew, which happens to be autistic, is able to use them without issue. It's pretty simple. Newbies don't have to learn how to cast a casting reel or a spinning reel. It's the all around. That if that doesn't say Americana and fishing, I don't know what else does. So that's my number 1 pick for my favorite panfish.
That's a great pick. I'm glad you brought that because that's a great fix. Sean. You make the show interesting for us.
Keeps us on our toes. What's up, JG Hill? How you doing?
That's right. JG says, I have a few of the open face Fluger reels, all aluminum, smooth, works for me. Heck yeah, man. I like Fluger reels. I've had really good success with them over the years. I broke a couple of them, but I've abused them too. So you really can't blame abuse on the reel. But yeah, they work good.
So, Lyle, what kind of, you had mentioned oil your reels real quick. What kind of oil do you use? Let me grab something I have here, but go ahead and tell everybody.
I use some stuff that comes with Abu Garcia's. They come with the little bottle of reel oil in the box, and I've got tons of that stuff because I got a lot of Abu Garcia reels, and it is as good as anything that I found. So that's what I've used until I run out of it. I see no sense to buy anything else, but I am intrigued by some of this super slick reel oil that some of these companies are coming out with.
I have a friend, and you know her, my friend Violet. She's sponsored by Lucas Oil, so she keeps me in this stuff. One of these bottles lasts forever. I don't know if it's any better or if it makes a difference using a performance lubricant in a reel, but I'll tell you what, this dispenser, this applicator is a godsend. It works great. It's easy to close up. It doesn't leak. Actually, one of my dogs got into a bottle of this stuff and chewed through it and lapped it all up, and it didn't kill my dog. So it's safe for your pets. So this stuff works pretty good. I don't even know if it's a petroleum-based lubricant or not, but if you can figure out where to get even a bottle like this, go get you a can of Miracle Oil and put it in it. It'll work great. So I've used a lot of Miracle Oil too back in the day.
I have too. I used to use 3-in-1 oil because my mom always had it when I was growing up. And in those days, it was probably as good as what you could buy anywhere, but not so much anymore. In fact, they tell you not to use that. They tell you not to use WD-40. They tell you not to use a lot of that stuff that we used to use before we had real specific oil.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean that real specific oil, because I'm going to say late 1960s, early 1970s is when they first come out with specialty lubricant for fishing reels. I don't remember any before that. Maybe there was, and I just can't remember it, but Amazon got a 2-pack for $14. Well, there you go.
Yeah, and a bottle of this will last you forever too.
Yeah, see that, and that's it. Another thing that I use a lot of. My brother was a sewing machine mechanic in garment factories nearly his whole life. He had sewing machine oil that was like Slick 50 in those days.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't graphite, but it was probably the next closest thing. And I could get that and put it on them reels because he had tons of it. You know, he not only did he work on them at a garment factory, people bring them for miles around because that's a specialty thing. Somebody that can fix sewing machines, and he could fix any of them. It didn't matter what kind it was. And you know, I just go over and, hey, I need some oil, and fix me up. While you're at it, sharpen my knives because I suck at that. And he'd do that for me too.
You know, and here's another tip: if you happen to be a gun enthusiast and like to clean your guns and stuff, if you got a good quality gun oil, that'll work just as good. Just be careful you're not using like something that has a cleaner in it. Just read the labels and stuff. But
yeah,
a lot of this stuff works really well. So I don't know about cleaning your reels with like a hops or anything. So
I don't know. Go ahead.
Like as far as, you know, oiling it and maintenance in general, I would like to get one of them ultrasonic cleaners. I know Josh has one and he uses it quite a bit. That might be another purchase I'm willing to make here in the future. I rebuild usually my reels over the winter, the ones that need it, and I think something like that it definitely come in handy. Now as far as grease goes too, I'm a big proponent of the Penn reel grease that they sell.
Yes.
A small 2-ounce jar that'll last you like a lifetime too. So that's a worthy investment too, if you ask me. I use a lot. Well, not a lot, but I use that on all my stuff. So
for the average guy that fishes and takes care of his reels, takes them apart, puts them back together, cleans them, grease, oils them, a little container of grease and oil will probably do you, if you don't lose it or spill it, your entire life. Now, for somebody that's repairing reels for money, they'll probably run out at some point and have to buy more of it. But
Well, yeah.
the average guy is not going to run out because the stuff lasts and lasts and lasts forever. And I watch a lot of reel repair videos, especially if they are putting videos out and I have that particular reel. I'll watch the guy take it apart and put it back together and try to learn something. And that works out really well for me. But I like sending them to a guy that really knows what he's doing and have somebody go through them every once in a while to make sure that it's right and I don't need to do anything else to it because I have a couple. I like line counter reels, and you can't make super tune them. You can't because there's too many working parts in them. And I like a 6500 that when you haul off and let the big dog eat, it sails for a day before it hits the water or you run out of line, whichever comes first. And you can't do that with a line caster or a line counter. You just can't do it. So it is what it is. And if I could find somebody that could super tune one of them, I would send them about 6.
There's got to be someone out there who can take care of that for you, Lyle.
Well, everybody tells me the same thing. It's just too much drag on line counter to make them cast like a 6500 that's not a line counter. And I got that. You know, I can see it. But it's kind of like back when we was racing small block motors against the big block cars. I could outrun them, but you never race one of them uphill because the big blocks will eat you up going uphill. Now, you're going downhill on a straightaway, I can have my way with them, but not going uphill. They don't notice that like a small block does. Ask Jeremy. He'll tell you the same thing.
Bugman says Lucas Oil is from Indiana, where we had all the factories. They use many different kinds of lube for manufacturing machines.
I will tell you this. Lucas Oil Speedway is right up the road from me, about 25 miles. And they have a bull ranch out here with a huge house on it. And they raise black bulls. I don't know what kind of. I don't care. You know, unless I'm eating it, it don't make no difference. But they raise pretty high dollar bulls and they sell them. And it's Lucas Oil Ranch, and it's right on 65 Highway, right up the road from me. So that's right, Jeremy. You betcha.
Chief Fish says the pen grease looks just like Lucas Marine grease.
And they may make it for them. You know, who knows? Lucas Oil, when they come on the market years ago with automotive products, everything they come out with was high quality. And I see no reason to doubt their gun oils and reel oils and greases and things like that is not the same high quality stuff as everything they got. They also have a racetrack right up here, dirt track market. They absolutely do. They're really big in this area. They own a lot of stuff. So I don't know how they got all that money, but I don't think they're planning on losing any of it.
There's a lot of money in oil. Remember the Beverly Hillbillies, Lyle?
I do.
Enough said.
I remember when they wasn't reruns. Do you?
And I know. I do not. I'm not even going to lie about that. Josh says, regular reel, when you cast, the gears are not touching. Line counter still has meshed gears during the cast. That makes a lot of sense. So
just more drag, yeah. Thanks, Jerry. Appreciate that.
So
I did have
what kind of reels are you buying yourself for Christmas?
None.
Oh, come on.
No. Mark, I got a lot of reels. I really do. It's not that I don't want some more.
You know, Sheila asked me once, she says, how many reels did you need? And my answer never changes. It's one more.
I like to buy them in pairs at least.
Yeah, but I don't tell her that.
I had some digital line counters that you put on one end of 6500s. I didn't care for those, Josh. They was very accurate, but I find that most of the manual ones are very accurate or within reason. But yeah, David Smith, Royal Purple. Yeah, I remember when they first come out with that. It was a big deal back in the 70s. It really was. I like line counters for a lot of reasons. I like them if I'm suspended baits off the side of the boat on dead stick. I like them if I'm running planer boards out to the side of the boat. I can go right back to the same spot I was at when I was dragging that bait and caught a fish or checked my line or whatever. I go right back to the same distance. If I'm back bottom bouncing, I really like them for that because I can tell how far I am behind the boat. And if that particular day, if 200 feet or 300 feet is where you're getting away from the noise and the banging of stuff in the boat and different things, and that's where they're hitting, that's where you want to be. I have back bottom bounced over 400 feet before, and it gets a little touch and go back there because you think you've lost the bottom. Next thing you know, you haven't lost the bottom. And you have to watch it when you're that far back because the current will make a loop in your line. But there's some days back bottom bouncing that fish won't bite close to the boat. Other days it don't make any difference. So they want it far away and there's no noise or nothing other than the sound of the water around them. And then it's the days you got to be way back away from there to catch them. But every day is a different day.
I think I'll start selling my own mix of reel oil, going to call it Royal Tide. I wonder if reel would be my first pro staff.
Oh, boy. I don't know if you're going to get away with that or not.
Oh, boy. So, Lyle, I like your list a lot. You had a lot of the older reels that you use. It's the stuff that keeps you happy, and I think what chat should definitely take away from that is you got gear in your garage. You got gear that you use. If you're happy with it, there's no reason to buy anything else.
That's exactly.
At this time, I seldom buy new reels just to buy a reel. If I have a pole that needs a reel, I do it. If I need to replace one that's broken, I do so. Like I said, I'll only buy a new reel if I need it. A lot of times there's a different rod that's either, catches my eye or gifted to me. Thank you very much, Lyle. Then I'll buy the reel, or I'll come across like I did this Black Friday, a couple of rods that I picked up. I'm going to get 2 of those Carbon X's. So don't buy anything you don't need, but those are just some of our favorites. And I stand behind every single one of my decisions, as I know Lyle does his too.
Absolutely. And it's not that I don't have other reels, and I'm using some of the other ones now. Some of them I'm not. I just couldn't locate them. I've got some brand new ones in the box out there, and the box never been opened. But these are the ones that's tried and true. If you can have them for a lot of years and they don't break, you don't have issues with them, nothing's going to stand up being stepped on, dropped in the boat, dropped in the water, Chad, like your phone, stuff like that. That's on you. That's not have nothing to do with the reel. But these have all been high quality, not expensive. Most of these are not expensive at all. That Advocate was pretty high dollar, and one of the other ones, I don't remember which one, but it was kind of pricey, but not out of line. There was nothing there that was way over $100. Excuse me.
Yeah, mine were all pretty reasonably priced. Some a little more than others. That Shimano's that's up there. That's kind of a ridiculous.
But that's a very nice reel.
But if you're going to use something like that constantly, and those are my go-to workhorses, I have no problem in claiming that I have 3 of those, and I use them all. So
yeah, I would like to ask you about your hello there, about your piece fun, because I have I have 3 PC Fun fly reels,
Mm-hmm.
and they are very nice. No problems with them. They work perfect every time. But I want to know how much you've used your black one and how you like it, because I would like to have one of those. Quit, get out of there. To compare to like my Sienna, to see if it's
I've
as that
used
kind of.
let me see, maybe a dozen, half a dozen times, somewhere around there. Not as much. They haven't been tested over years like a lot of my other gear has, but so far so good. I haven't stepped on them. That's a definite plus.
Yeah.
And they're pretty smooth, and I like them so far. So
What
we'll
do
see
you have
what
any idea
happens.
how heavy they are compared to other stuff?
They have an actual Pissy Fun Carbon X2, which is even lighter than the ones I have. So if you're interested, that's the one. And a lightweight reel means that, is a deal breaker for you. I would look at that and take a look.
No,
at
it's not.
what the
I like to try to balance a rod with the
Mhm.
correct reel, or get the correct rod to balance the right reel.
Yep.
Either way you go, I know what kind of balance I'm looking for one, and them 2000 series reels are a little bit heavy for a lot of the rods that I'm using now. I'm experimenting with it's not an ultra light blank, but it's a light blank, but it's really light. It's not ultra light, but it's really, really light. And I shut one to tailgate my truck here a while back, and I haven't got another one built yet. It
Yeah,
happens to be the same as happens to everybody
yeah.
else, but I really like that rod. It's not a high dollar blank, but it's an OEM knockoff by a company that I buy a lot of stuff from, and made here in the United States. So um, I got to get another one built, but right now I don't have time. I got other stuff I got to get done. But I think that I need a reel that's probably 1 to 2 ounces lighter than what I had on it, and what I had on it was this Shimano, and it was just a little too heavy for it, or Daiwa. But yeah, I that was a 2000 series, and I'm thinking a 1500 or 1000 series, because I believe the 500 is going to be too light for that rod. So I'm thinking a 1500 series reel.
Well, one thing to keep in mind if you're looking, at weight when you're looking at ounces, a lot of, not, this isn't true in every case, but a lot of reels, if you order a 2000 or 3000, it's the same frame, just a different spool. A
Yeah.
1000 is usually a smaller framed reel.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I've come across. So
Well, 1000 would be fine too.
Yeah, that's one thing to keep. Now a 1500, I have no idea. I don't know on anything that's that size. So
it depends.
That I'd have to go over to Bass Pro Shops and get my mitts on one of them suckers and
Well, that's just down the street from me, but damn, I hate going. This is not the time of year to be in Bass Pro.
No.
I have seen fights break out down in the store down there before.
Did you get video? I need to see video.
That's the 4-head camera phones. When that was going on, I might have had a bag phone. I'm not real sure. It was my brother-in-law, actually. Big guy. That's another story. But yeah, that was a long time ago, and I'll never forget it, though. I promise you that. Neither will that other guy. Mark, this has been a really fun show. We need to come up with some more stuff like that, and because it appeared to me that the people in chat really enjoyed what we was doing, and it's not that we can't do another one of these. I probably got 5 more different kinds.
I could buy 5 different more kinds and get.
I can help you with that. Get that credit card out.
Get the credit card. No, I didn't say I could afford it. I said I could buy it. I have a little bit of credit power left, so. Thank you, Creel.
I did not babysit Johnny Morris. Josh is on a roll tonight.
He's always on a roll.
Man.
He's a pretty witty dude.
He is. He's a lot of fun.
I had a lot of fun tonight talking about reels with you, Lyle. You know me, I like fishing gear. So
I do too. I hope that we help somebody make a decision if they're on the line about buying a reel. And like always, if you have any questions or comments, you can leave them below when this posts up. Because once we close it out here in just a minute, the chat will be gone. But any questions you have or any comments, anything about the shows, please just leave us a message down below. I look at them every day. Anytime there's one, I get a notification that there's on there and try to get right back to people. If it's some kind of question that they're asking, if it's not, a lot of times I'll just hit the like button and go on. But if you need something answered, I'll be glad to help you out with that. Tomorrow night, the bait shop, Chad and Brian B and Freddie. Should be a fun show.
Catfish Weekly on Monday nights, 7 p.m. God's time.
That's correct, Chadwick. And then we'll be back next Wednesday night at 7. Anything else going on, Mark?
Nope. Just we want to make sure everybody keeps Chrissy and Ernie in their prayers. Same with James Albaugh, definitely.
Yes.
I saw that Joe Buck was in the ER. We didn't get any idea of what's going on with him, so we want to make sure we're keeping him in our thoughts too, and everybody else out there that needs it. Also, it's Christmas season. Reach out to some people that have lost loved ones this year. They're going to be alone for the most case. I've done that to a couple of people, and they were very grateful. So I recommend that you guys all do the same.
Love you, buddy. Glad to know that he still listens to us. All right, that's it for us tonight, folks. Hope you enjoyed the show. We sure enjoyed bringing it to you. We'll see you next Wednesday night right here at 7 o'clock on Panfish Nation. Thanks for watching.